I'm a legend.
I'm a legend. I'm a legend.
Hey guys, Brian here from Thumper Fab. Today I'm going to walk you through assembling and installing our Thumper Fab jug mount. For the first step, we'll go ahead and fasten our foot bracket to our vehicle side bracket. For this, we'll use our 1/4 inch carriage bolt. You'll feed it through both brackets and cap it off with the nylon lock nut on the inside. We'll go ahead and tighten this up with our 7/16 wrench. For the next step, we'll go ahead and install our adjustment bracket. We'll use the same 1/4 inch carriage bolts that we used in the previous step. For now, we'll leave these relatively loose so that we can adjust it once we get it in the vehicle, depending on what vehicle we'll be installing it in. For the next step, we'll go ahead and install our pivot bracket. You'll slide it in position and we'll fasten it to our adjustment bracket using the long 1/4 inch hex bolt located in the hardware kit. We'll tighten this up with a 3/8 socket and a 7/16 wrench. Before we tighten it though, you'll want to go ahead and install your pin. This pin will allow it to either be in the upright position as if it's holding your jug, or pivot down so that it's out of the way of anything you may need to put in your bed. We'll go ahead and put the pin in place and get this all tightened up. When you're tightening up this bolt, you'll want to make sure not to over tighten it so that you can still remove your pin and adjust your pivoting bracket as needed. For the next step, we'll go ahead and install the trim provided in your hardware kit over our tank ring. You'll want to leave it about 1/4 to 1/2 inch away from the holes you see here so it doesn't interfere with us fastening it to our pivot bracket. You'll want to work it around. It may be a little finicky to get it around the radius, but if you just keep working it a little bit at a time, it'll sit all the way down, and then we'll trim off the excess so that it's symmetrical on both sides. With our trim installed, we can now fasten our tank release ring. On one side, you'll have a button lock pin. On the other side, we'll use our M6 flange head bolt and flange nylon lock nut. Just as before with the pivoting bracket, I want to make sure not to over tighten this so that the tank release ring can still pivot out of the way to remove our jug from the jug holder assembly. As you can see, when we remove the button lock pin, we can pivot our tank release ring out of the way and reinstall it whenever we're ready. If you'd like a more secure connection, you can always put a small padlock here so you don't have to worry on those long mud rides of anyone stealing your fuel. On this installation, we'll be installing our jug mount on an HD11 Defender. Here you can see our link fasteners that we'll use to fasten the jug to the bed. As you can see here though, the wing nut is too large to be able to fully reach in there and tighten it up with your hands. What we'll do is we'll switch out the wing nut for the bolts provided in the hardware kit. We'll show you on the bike how everything gets tightened up, and we'll move on to the next step. For the next step, we'll go ahead and decide where we plan on mounting our jug mount. We're going to mount ours in the front on the driver's side. I'll take our link fasteners and install them down in the bed. What you'll want to do is tighten the 2 small socket cap screws up with an Allen wrench. This will help the fastener stay secure and tight in the bed. After that, we'll use our M6 hardware to fasten the jug mount to our link fasteners. Then we'll take our jug and set it in place to set our height. Here, we'll reuse the large fender washer and our lock washer from our link fastener. Then we'll thread in our M6 fastener. Once we have both of them started, we'll go ahead and tighten this up using a 10mm socket. We can go ahead and tighten these up using our 10mm socket. For the next step, we're ready to place our jug in the bed of the vehicle, and we'll figure out the height of our adjustment that we need to match our bed rail. For the last step, before we test our jug out, I'll go ahead and install a piece of trim on our pivoting bracket, just so that no sheet metal would be rubbing up against our jug. Here I'll go ahead and slide our jug up to our pivoting bracket and slide our tank release ring around the jug. You want to have it as a snug fit. We can reinstall our button lock ring. Once we have that all in place, we can mark our location. What I like to do is just hold it with my hand. I'll remove the button lock ring, get the tank out of the way, and go ahead and tighten up one of our carriage bolts. It helps if you have a gear wrench. Here I'm using a 7/16 gear wrench. Once we have one side tight, we can release our hands and tighten up the other carriage bolt. With our adjustment bolts tight, we're ready to bring the tank back to our jug mount, slide the tank release ring back around our jug, and finish it off with our button lock pin. With everything in place, you're ready to hit the trails and enjoy your new Thumper Fab utility jug mount on your HD11 Defender.